The storm is eating up the house, and I'm spinning with it.
It just sounded like it was just ripping the floors right up off of the foundation.
I thought I was gone. Actually, I thought we were both gone.
I knew that things were going to get very out of control very quickly.
From the Weather Channel, this is Storm Stories with meteorologist Jim Cantori.
Early May 2003 marks the beginning of a nightmare for sections of the Midwest. In 1 week, nearly 400 tornadoes will be unleashed in 25 states. For 42-year-old professional storm tracker Jeff Petrovsky, it's a chance to do what he does best: chase twisters.
The weather gives you clues what's going to happen before it happens, and it's putting those pieces of the puzzle together is what fascinates me.
Petrovsky has been mesmerized with extreme weather since he was 14. It was then that he survived a flash flood after being washed off a bridge in his native Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I swam vigorously to a fence. I held onto the fence for about 4 hours that evening, and seeing furniture and things flow by. And being 14 years old, that had a tremendous impact on your life.
Sunday, May 4th, 2003. At daybreak, Jeff leaves Tulsa and heads north toward the border with Kansas. He is on the trail of a storm that will spawn one of the most violent tornadoes ever witnessed. A twister that will shred southeast Kansas. By 12:35 p.m., this region is already under what's called a PDS, a particularly dangerous situation tornado watch. That's the assessment given by the National Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. The advisory also covers parts of Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. Part of the region under alert is in what's known as Tornado Alley. And by 3 p.m., they're in a direct line of fire. Petrovsky is now driving in eastern Kansas along the Missouri state line. He's excited and anxious.
The fear of the tornadoes coming into your location in your house and approaching your car is extreme.
As the storm chaser stalks his prey, he monitors the radio reports.
Seek shelter in a culvert, ditch, or low spot and cover your head with
4:19 p.m. The National Weather Service issues a tornado warning for Crawford County in southeastern Kansas. Outside the small community of Girard, 84-year-old Laverna Gimmel is on the phone. The Spry Society reporter is working her beat for the Girard Press, getting the scoop on recent events from friends and neighbors.
They tell me where they've been and what they did, and then I send that in to the newspapers.
Laverna still lives on this 1,500-acre farm, even after her husband Wayne died 20 years ago.
I moved to that farm because I married the guy that lived on that farm. It's the only place I know.
The widow's beloved home, however, is in danger. In the skies overhead is the buildup of a supercell, an intense thunderstorm with a strong rotating updraft. It doesn't take long for those rotating winds to produce a tornado. 4:32 p.m. The twister forms 14 miles outside Girard, just minutes from the Gimmel farm. Storm chaser Jeff Petrovsky is now 19 miles away, speeding up to catch the large funnel.
I continue heading west toward Girard, Kansas, and I get about 5 miles west, and what I see to my southwest is about a quarter-mile wide tornado on the ground.
Large tornado on the ground.
Back at Laverna's house, she is still making calls, unaware that an enormous twister is plowing directly toward her.
My neighbor lady and I were talking. It made no sound at my place. There was no rain. There was no hail.
As the twister closes in, it gains strength. It is an F2 on the Fujita scale, which rates the intensity of a tornado. Its winds are estimated to be surging to 157 miles an hour. Suddenly, Laverna's phone goes dead.
There was a big noise, and I looked, and my big double window in the bedroom had blown in. It looked like smoke, which I assume was dust, was coming in that window.
She quickly realizes it's a tornado that's barreling down on her house. Less than a mile away, her neighbors are outside snapping photos of the twister. They watch in horror as the black mass engulfs Laverna's property. The 84-year-old has no time to seek shelter. The house explodes in on her. She is caught in the grip of the powerful monster as it lifts her off the floor.
I was whirling, and then I just sat down real hard. And I think it must suck all the oxygen out of you, because I seemingly passed out.
The house collapses around her, one of hundreds of structures in the path of a tornado outbreak raging across the Midwest. Just down the road from Laverna's house, Captain John Gagliardo is witnessing the destruction. He's one of many storm spotters hard at work for the Crawford County Sheriff's Department.
I was probably within a mile of Mrs. Gimmel's house when you could see it just take it out, and it just looked like it was taking toothpicks and throwing them out.
Captain Gagliardo heads for the Gimmel farm and calls for assistance to help search the wreckage for Laverna. As the twister charges past the widow's house, Jeff Petrosky follows it. He speeds ahead and captures this video of the tornado heading northeast.
Large maxi tornado coming in Gerard.
I literally saw whole trees being sucked out of the ground and disappearing in like half seconds into the tornado.
The twister is growing in size. It quickly reaches F4 status, the second highest rating for a tornado. Winds are pushing more than 200 miles an hour.
The tornado is much stronger now. It's much wider. It's rotating much faster.
Petrosky may have a great vantage point, but now the huge funnel cloud is heading straight at him.
Debris falling out of the sky over my vehicle, so you have to be very aware of what's falling around you and what's coming towards you.
Jeff waits until the last moment before jumping into his truck and slamming on the gas.
Here it comes. I'm moving. Right in front.
About 10 miles away, Laverna Gimmel regains consciousness. She is trapped under the rubble of her shattered house. Captain Gagliardo arrives on the scene. He is joined by several rescuers.